All right, well, we're just sitting out here shooting right now, and normally, like I talked about, we mostly just shoot like at 100 yards all year, just because, like, you know, if you shoot at 20 and you're an inch off, you think it's a good shot, you do that same shot at 100 and it's 2 feet off. So you really kind of learn that at 100 yards, every little mistake. But what I really like to shoot is to make sure that, you know, I make sure all my sights are on from 20 all the way up. But at 60 in particular is an important yardage for me, because now with, you know, with Western hunts coming up and we were right around the corner, and I see this mistake all the time, is that people will tell me, I couldn't get a shot at it, I couldn't see the vitals. And I was like, for spot and stock mule deer, especially like in certain terrain where it's just grass and stuff like that, especially eastern Colorado, places like that where they're in milo fields, or up in Canada where they're in canola fields, you're never gonna see their vitals. I mean, if I took all the deer off my wall, the mule deer that I shot, if I couldn't see the vitals, you'd take 2/3 of them off. You normally won't. You think about it, when they're bedded down, like in the tall grass, and you just see the tips of their antlers, if they stand up, all you're gonna see is their back line. You're not gonna see their vitals. And I see that so many times, so many buddies of mine that go out and say, I couldn't get a shot. And I was like, you know, you can make that shot. But the thing is, two things. Number one, you wanna make sure, like, I normally will just stock to like 60 yards, because at 60 yards, you got about 2 feet of arc coming, so you go over the top of that grass and dump it right in. And plus, and the second point on that is, if you get close, I mean, you can stock into 20 yards almost always on those things. But you don't want to be that close, because then when they stand up, boom, right out of their peripheral vision, they see them, boom, they run. You know, but if you're back 60 and they get up, and even if they see you out of their peripheral vision, they look, they'll give you those couple seconds, then they'll look at you. You're not like so close to them where they'll spook off right away. Most of the time, they'll stand there and stare at you. But at least, you know, you always see when they start turning their head that they're gonna stand up, you draw, and they'll, at 60 yards, almost always give you the time to get that shot off. And so the point is that when they're at 60, most of the time I can only see their back line. But you know how deep they are. You know where their vitals are. So it's hard to aim in the grass, but that's why we practice it a lot. Like right here, so we put a block target out there. From up here, I can see almost the middle of the Tiffany camp. But so when I step down off the patio here, all I can see is that ridge line of the block target. And that's what you're gonna see 90% of the time when you're spot and stocking deer. You know, when they stand up, you just see that back line. And even though you can't see their vitals, you know where it is. So we practice this a lot. I mean, Tiffany made that mistake several years ago. So every year before we go out west, we practice this, because you can't see the bullseye on that.
It's really hard
when you step down there.
I mean, even for right now, it's like, it is so hard to make yourself, you're like, okay, just trust it.
You gotta put
You
gotta put your pin into the hillside for me, or the grass. But if I go like here, it's at 60 yards from me, right here, and I can see most of it there. From here, I don't see any of those, I don't see anything. All I can see is that the top of the black, of the block target. I don't see any white right now, so it's in the shade, in the shadows there, so it's hard to even for me to see it. I just gotta make sure I see, you know, where the center of that is.
Can't even see the target.
So there you can see, I mean, I can't see the bullseye, I can't see the target, all I see is the top rim, but that's no different than what you're gonna see on a mule deer when they stand up. But as long as you see their back line and you know where their butt is, which way they face, that they're not facing you, or they're not facing which way they're facing, as long as I see that, okay, they're broadside and I see their back line, just aim right where you know that heart and lung area is. And at 60 yards, like I said, that's why I like to stock to 60 and just stay right there, is you got almost 2 feet of arc to go over the top of everything, and you'll dump it right in the top. So you can go look at that target down there and you'll see that you don't have to see the bullseye. You know where it is. So that's a mistake that I see a lot of people, and then we're coming right up to these Western hunts. So we just wanted to put that tip out there, because I've seen it a lot. So a lot of you guys are maybe going out the first time, or maybe even guys have been going out a long time spot and stocking, even for antelope or anything like that. And I've heard it so many times. You know, you don't have, but you do have that shot if you stay back like 60 yards and you can arc it over the top. And of course, if it's in sage or something like that with, you know, really heavy brush or thick branches, you don't want to ever do that. It's just when it's wispy grass, stuff like that, you go over the top of 99.9% of it. You might just hit the tops of some of that grass there, but it's so close to the deer that it's not gonna make any difference. So hopefully that helps you out, you know, on some of the hunts this year. When you go out there, just realize that you don't always see it, and most of the time you're not gonna see the vitals, but that doesn't mean you don't have the shot. Let's go take a look at, oh yeah, one of them's right in there. Yeah, they all are. So I mean, that's be gloating. You're not the one in the bullseye yet.
Look at that! For me, that is freaking awesome. That is 60 yards.
But so this is what I'm saying. You look at 60 yards. All I could see from down there is like this, and you're like, okay, you know, the center. I know where the center is someplace, and I know how deep it is. You know where that is. So even though you couldn't see any of that, those are Tiffany's 2 shots. Obviously, right in the lungs. Mine right in the bullseye there. I mean, these are all killing shots at 60 yards, where so many times people will say, I couldn't see the vitals, I didn't have a shot. You do have the shot. So hopefully that helps, and good luck hunting this year.